I just don't know where to start this morning. There's so much interesting going on. Let's start with the fact that I don't want to be right about, well, I'm not sure if I want to be right or if I want to be wrong. I've been saying that maybe we won't get a Fed rate cut in September, and the bond market this morning seems to be agreeing with me. The bond yields are up strongly this morning because why? Well, because there's a lot of good news in the economy. And that's not good. This good news, bad news problem. I think I'm going to end up being right on this one. I that would of course mean that I'd be wrong on with regard to the possibility that we are already in recession. I don't think that I'm going to end up being wrong on that, but maybe we will actually not go into full recession. Well, anyway, let's get into the details. Let's start with Tesla. As always, Tesla is down this morning. Bond yields being up is not a good thing for Tesla. A good economy would be good for Tesla. So there's always this problem of, which is which, but there's really no news to drive Tesla down. There's some FUD. We'll talk about that in a minute. As you may already know, because this happened yesterday, but I wanted to report on it first to make sure that you have this information, is that Tesla did launch a version of 12.5 that does work on the hardware 3 vehicles. What was interesting is that they noted that they believe that they've got a plan they got it figured out to where in the future they won't need to make a separate hardware 3 and hardware 4 version, that they've got it the size of it reduced in a way that will allow it the same one to work on both. So that was good news. They also said that the version of the 12.5 for the Cybertruck, and of course a version at all, FSD for Cybertruck, will be coming in September. They didn't say early or late, but they did say it'll be available in September. With parking, just the parking portion of it coming fairly soon, maybe next week. Anyway, just when you thought it might be safe to go back in the water, the technical analysts at Finbold say that the 227 is now the number we have to beat, not 224 and not 220. So who do you believe on the technical analyst stuff? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe none of the above. The good news is that we're right now in the range between 220 and 224, but we have not yet closed over 224. Early this morning, it looked like we were headed that way. We were actually up, and then we were flat, and last time I checked, we were down. So we'll just check that, of course, at the end of the show. It's according to Finbold, the resistance zone of 227.03. Okay, has proved elusive for the price for nearly 20 days, with the level of 198.92 acting as support. However, this level could be tested with rising buying volume, measured by the relative strength index, which has recently experienced an upward trend and closed the latest trading session at the strength level of 59.36, which is strong. Furthermore, Tesla stock price is trading above its 50, its 100, and its 200-day moving averages, which is another technical indicator in its favor. There you go. This headline says that Tesla has cut down 500,000 trees in Berlin. Sawyer Merritt points out that the article doesn't tell you, the Guardian article, of course it's Guardian article doesn't tell you that Tesla has helped plant over 1 million trees in 2024 alone, and that's just in Germany. And he says there's not a single company doing more to advance the transition to sustainable energy than Tesla. We agree. And by the way, in case that wasn't enough, S.E. Robinson Jr. says this is just another hit piece. The entire area around Giga Berlin was slated to be harvested for cardboard before Tesla acquired it. Now, this is not old growth forest. This is not sustainable forest land. What this was, you've seen it. I know one of the places you see it really cool is down in Florida, mile after mile after mile of these, basically tree farms, and they put these trees up in order to farm them. And the news is really super good at some of Elon's other ventures. You've got the first private spacewalk coming up next week. And that's also that particular capsule, that particular ship is going to go out into space further than any other trip for, I forget, 40, 50 years since we've been that far into space with astronauts. Also, the second Neuralink patient is doing extremely well, and they're planning to do 10 more this year. And Elon says, then it'll be hundreds, maybe in the next year or two, and then it'll be thousands and then millions. It's rather remarkable when you think about it. This is Randy Kirk. If any of this stuff is ever valuable, hit like and then hit subscribe, hit notify. This morning we will have Cern Basher, of course, and you love Cern. And then we'll have, after Cern, we'll have, this is Bradford Ferguson nights, Thursday. Yep. And then if you really want to help the channel, you really want to help things along, you can go on down and help out in the Patreon sector, where $3, $5, or $10 will get you various things. $3 will get you, thank you very much. Or you could come in at the $50 level and become a producer, a full-on producer of the channel. So this in the financial news this morning. Here's why we see the stock market maybe going down and the bond market yields going up. First of all, the initial jobless claims in the week ended August 17. The advanced figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims was 232,000, which is kind of just normal average for the last 12 months. This was an increase of 4,000 from the previous week, but not any significant increase and pretty much in the range. It says the 4-week moving average, which is what I pay a lot more attention to, was 1,865,000, and that's an increase of 4,750, and it's also the highest level for this average since November 27 of 2021. But back then it was 1,928,000, so that was a lot higher. But having said all that, it has been low for all of this time. We've had this massive employment shortage during COVID and just after COVID. The shortage is now pretty close to over. But anyway, so even though this is the highest level since 21, it's still not a high level. The entire report is modest, and it's not likely to move the needle. Having said that, the bond yields, as I mentioned, are moving higher. Our largest trading partner has a cold. That was bad news this morning. This would not be good. What's happened is that Canada, their 2 largest railways have locked out their workers and shut down operations. So they got no trains moving in Canada, no freight trains. I don't know about passenger, maybe that's separate. This is the first time that both railways have been impacted by a work action at the same time, because what's happening is the unions are trying to, they're not negotiating they're not coming together, and the unions seem to be trying to push it into the fall when they have the harvest and also the incoming gifts for Christmas. So it's a very heavy train time across Canada, and the railway owners are saying, no, we don't want to do it then. That's a very bad time to do it. We'll just go ahead and lock out now and see if we can't get this resolved. You can imagine there's a lot of cross-border movement of goods in both directions, and it'll take weeks or months before the U.S. economy would be dramatically affected, but this is a possible, something to pay attention to. We'll see what happens up there. The 𝐒𝐭𝐿𝐵𝐼 letter this morning says this is a summary of the Wednesday Fed meeting minutes. I thought this was good. The majority of the Fed members believe it is appropriate to lower rates at the next meeting if the data remains constructive. And this is what I'm talking about. The data right now is looking like the economy, the economic indicators are too strong. You'll see in a minute. There's more evidence. And also that the job numbers are fine. And this is not good. I mean, this is good. It's good, but not for cutting rates. Recent data, number 2, has enhanced confidence over inflation. That has not changed. We'll see what happens with this PCE next week. 3, several participants considered a 25 basis cut in July. That's several. I don't know how many. 4, the majority of participants said unemployment risks are rising, but now we're not seeing that. 5, at least this month, more than last month. Outlook for economic growth in the second half of 2024 was marked down. So they're looking more at a soft landing or recession. And then 6, easing too late could unduly weaken the economy. So I agree with all that. Except, okay, here we go. Flash, US PMI Composite Output Index was at 54.1, which is a 4-month low, but July was only 54.3, so it only would come down a little tiny bit. Flash US service businesses activity was at 55.2, which is actually a 2-month high. That's the overall services business activity. Flash US manufacturing output, of course, horrible at 47.8, a 14-month low, and Flash US manufacturing PMI at 48, down from 49.6 last month, an 8-month low. So what you're looking at is services, which is about 4 times what manufacturing is. You got services doing well, a little off, but not bad. And you got manufacturing doing horrible, but it's only about 25% of the services in terms of the total overall economy. So they go on to say U.S. business activity growth remained robust in August. According to the Flash PMI survey data, S&P Global signaled a sustained economic expansion over the third quarter so far. This would be the opposite of what Randy's been saying. Growth disparities widen further, however, with the service sector expanding at a solid and increasing rate, while manufacturing output declined at the fastest rate 14 months. Employment, meanwhile, fell as gloomier prospects in manufacturing led to near stalling out of hiring there, and the service sector is also stalled because of not being able to find the right folks. Brighter news on inflation, with prices charged for goods and services registering the smallest rise since June. So that's good. And barring only the recent dip in January, was countered by a stubbornly elevated rate of input cost growth by historical standards. So input rates, but not able to pass them along. That's not good. Optimism about output in the year ahead lifted from July's 3-month low, but remained below the survey's long-run average. An improvement in service sector confidence was offset by a very gloomy mood in manufacturing. You know, some of those words are mine, right? This is from Yahoo. This was some breaking news of just a few minutes ago. Sales of existing homes rose in July. That's a shock to me, as house hunters return to the market with mortgage rates at their lowest level since February. Existing home sales advanced 1.3 from June to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.95 million, according to the National Association of Realtors, stopping a 4-month sales decline. And by the way, there's a bunch of homes that are falling out of escrow. I talked to a realtor in my neighborhood yesterday who just happened to be on the same walk. And she says that the reason they're dropping out is because of high insurance rates or inability to insure at all, or to get a rate that is acceptable to the homeowner or that wouldn't throw them out in terms of qualifying on the overall cost of the home. So in California and Florida in particular, these are problems. And she says that's where the dropouts are happening. Anyway, so this was good news for the sales, home sales. But remember, these are an extremely low bar, because overall, the home sales right now are horrible at very, very low levels compared to historic norms. All right, where are the stocks now after all of that? Okay, let's take a look. I was just looking at a headline to see if it was interesting. And what we've got is, let's go first of all over to Tesla. Tesla is now down $2.54 on 0 reasons. I mean, 0 reasons, except for the bond yields being up. That would be the only reason. Dow Jones is down 74, the NASDAQ up 721, and the S&P up 2.07. You've got the rest of the Mag 7 basically mixed, but NVIDIA only up 70 cents. Yeah, so mixed and narrowly around break even. Tesla is the only one with a large move. Meta, a large move up, continuing its large move up, $6.88 right now. Again, Tesla opened higher and then went lower. No particular reason that I can find in the news. Okay, and then the Cathie Woods are basically down. The bonds yields going up typically is not good news for the Cathie Wood type stocks. Okay, what are the percentages? You've got the Dow down 0.23, NASDAQ up 0.05, S&P up 0.04. So very little movement. Tesla down 1.17%. Okay, let's go ahead and look at those bonds. You've got the 10-year up 8 basis points. Now, this is a strong move back over 3.8 to 3.856. You've got the 2-year up almost exactly the same, 7.9, let's call it 8, at 4, almost on the nose. That's a 15 now. So that's backing down. It got up to around 1920, 17 yesterday, now down to 15 basis points between them. And the 2-month not up nearly as much, basically even this morning. And so that brings down that inversion a bit, but still crazy, of course. Okay, let's see. We have got the oils. You've got oil market right now up a little this morning, both Brent and Texas Intermediate around 56, 60 cents, somewhere around there. 72.50 for Texas and 76.69 for Brent. Again, way down at the bottom range of there. But as I mentioned the other day, I thought that the 72 level for Texas Intermediate was about the low, and then it went a little lower, but now it's popped back. So maybe I get it. So far, maybe I get that right. Natural gas, yeah, pick your day for natural gas. Down 3.95 this morning, almost trying to break under $2 again at 209. Gold, a lot of profit taking in gold this morning, 37.70 down at 25.10. And silver also down 1.61 at 29. Copper down 1.15% at $4.14. The dollar down against the euro 0.42, up against the yen 0.79. Bitcoin down 694. So the good news from the Harris campaign seemingly to take an interest in Bitcoin hasn't held that product up. What is it? It's a product, I guess. We'll call it a product. Okay, let's see here. There was some breaking news. I was going to see if I could catch it here. See if I was able to find out what that breaking news was for you just before we leave. Bunch of breaking news, but none of it that exciting. Just let me double check, just in case it's something here that we should really care about. I don't normally do this, but I did see multiple things popping across my headline. Okay, so having said all that, let's go back and see if Tesla has moved away from that bad beginning. Nope, down $3.90. So back under 220 at 219.37. As we wrap it up this morning, this is, of course, where you're going to hear from Cern Basher later in the morning. I'm guessing he's going to have some very, very interesting news about both Tesla and the economy. What do you think? And then Bradford Ferguson tonight. I think Bradford is always able to bring us some kind of a different look, a very different, unique perspective. And then, of course, Patreon would be a good thing for you to do if you wouldn't mind joining up and participating. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. It's been great talking to you.